Recorded Books presents an unabridged recording of The Strange Affair of Adelaide Harris by Leon Garfield, narrated by Ron Keith.
Chapter 1. A musty, dusty, leathery smell of boys, books, and ink. Words drone, and a family of flies stagger through the heavy air as if in pursuit of them. But they turn out to be of ancient history, so the flies blunder moodily against the parlour window, beyond which the June sun ripens tempting dinners at roadsides and down by the strong-smelling beach, day after day after day. "Among the customs of ancient Sparta," says Mr. Brett at the 12 enormous, crumpled boys before him, and then goes on to tell of mothers bidding their sons come back with their shields, or, cold and dead, upon them. He gazes at his 12 and reflects that Spartan mothers knew what they were about. He looks particularly hard at Bostock and Harris, whom he hates and fears, day after day after day. Thin, depressed, humane man, though with a touch of youth still remaining, Mr. Brett was employed to teach classical education at Dr. Bunyan's Academy in Brighton. There was something of a mystery about Mr. Brett. He was a well-spoken, gentlemanly sort of person, quite out of the usual run of schoolmasters. It was generally supposed that he'd fled from a well-to-do family in the north after committing some horrible crime, and had found sanctuary in Dr. Bunyan's obscure school. This notion lent him a certain melancholy distinction in the eyes of the pupils, and helped to explain why he never left the school for more than a few hours, even remaining through the holidays, and always tended to start and grow pale whenever there was a knock on the door. From time to time, with the object of trapping Mr. Brett into betraying his crime, some ingenious pupil would ask seemingly innocent questions about parricides, fratricides, and what were Mr. Brett's thoughts on poisonings, of which matters ancient history was interestingly full, and then sit back and closely observe him for signs of guilty dismay. Oddly enough, such questions did seem to disturb Mr. Brett in quite a striking way, and when some sly and brutish boy at the back, or the terrible Harris in the front, inquired how finely glass needed to be powdered before it might be used to commit murder, he would always falter and look alarmed. Then there'd fall an absolute silence on the class. The pupils would stare at Mr. Brett, and Mr. Brett would stare at the pupils, and each would be struggling with his private thoughts of the other, and only God Almighty knew which was nearer the truth. But now the day was almost done. 10 of the boys appeared to be asleep, and Mr. Brett dropped his voice, for he didn't want to awaken them. Only Bostock and Harris still seemed to be interested in him. Side by side they sat in the front row and watched him attentively. Bostock was the larger of the two, but Harris was the deadlier. Though Bostock had caused more destruction and would, most likely, end on the gallows, Mr. Brett believed Harris to be his evil genius. Or would have believed it, did not genius suggest a high intelligence, which Harris didn't have. But there would be no more of them. So far as Mr. Brett was concerned, they were the end of their line. Harris had only a quantity of sisters, and Bostock was a single child, so Mr. Brett thought that even his parents were appalled by what they'd done and would do no more. 10 minutes of the lesson remained, and Mr. Brett struggled on with the customs of ancient Sparta. A fat boy at the back was actually asleep with his mouth open. Mr. Brett had a childish desire to throw an ink pellet into it, but did nothing of the kind. The fat boy was a boarder at £90 per annum, and so worth 3 day pupils. Not for worlds would Mr. Brett
Sample complete. Ready to continue?